if our relationships are going to draw others to Christ, we have to destroy any and all unholy barriers. We have to destroy any and all unholy barriers. You say, where do you see this? Look at Colossians chapter 3, verse 11. Paul says here, everybody say here. Paul says here, there is no Gentile or Jew, circumcised or uncircumcised, barbarian or Scythian, slave or free, but Christ is all and is in all. Now, my guess is when you rolled in here today, you didn't say, look at there, there's a Jew. That's not how we talk today. Yeah, there's an uncircumcised person. Don't even want to know. You didn't roll in here and said barbarian. I call my kids barbarian every once in a while. Usually dinner table, right? Scythian, you're like, I'm not going to call him a Scythian. That might be good. I'm not going to do that. Then he says what? Slave nor free. You know what he was saying in that day, in that vernacular? He was saying, man, we got to, when we come to church, when we're in church, when we're with God's people, we've got to get rid of all the external barriers, the unholy, the ungodly barriers. You say, what do you mean by that? Well, let me just give you a couple of thoughts. And they're all wrapped up in these terms right here, and I'll try to point them back to ethnic barriers need to be destroyed. Well, you say, where do you see it? You say slave and free, and you see barbarian and Scythian. That means just non-Hellenized. That means different races, Jew and Gentile. Those are races. He says, man, those all have to be taken away. I'll just be dead level honest with you. It is not my desire to pastor a white church. It's not. Because that's not who our community is. And when we come in here, man, there are no economic barriers, there are no ethnic barriers, there are no educational barriers, none. And that's what Paul says, man, Christ is in all. How many of you agree with that? I thought I'd do this, and this is going to be a little bit odd. I've never done it. I've been here 20 years. Hopefully I can get away with it. All right? I just went to the government website this week. And I pulled up their ethnic designations. Ethnic designations. And I'm going to ask you, as I read their ethnic designations, when I get to your ethnic designation, I want you to stand and remain standing if you would, okay? And I want to show who we are. Now, if you are that person, if this is your ethnicity, or you're married to someone of this ethnicity, I want you to stand. First category, listed by the government, American Indian or Alaskan Native. All right, Native American, you can stand. Good. There we go. Give them a hand. Now, let me just say this right up front because I don't want to forget it. This is who the government says we are. This is not who Christ says we are. Amen? Does that make sense? All right. So who are they? A person having origins in any of the original peoples of North and South America, including Central America, who maintains cultural identification through tribal affiliation and community attachment of some kind. All right. Next category, they say, is Asian. If you're an Asian, would you stand? If you're an Asian, y'all remain standing. You get to stand. You first ones get to stand the whole time. If you're Asians, let me tell you how they define that. A person having origins in any of the original places, any of the original peoples of the Far East, Southeast Asia, or Indian subcontinent, including, for example, Cambodia, China, India, Japan, Korea, Malaysia, Pakistan, Philippine Islands, Thailand, Vietnam, and the like. If you're that, would you stand? Give them a hand. We're glad that you are here. Here's the next category they have. Black or African American. This is who the government says you are. A person having origins in any of the black racial groups of Africa. If you would stand if you would. Please stand. Give them a hand. Hispanic or Latino. All right, if you are Hispanic or Latino, would you stand? Okay, give them a hand. Let me define that for you. A person A person of Cuban, Mexican, Puerto Rican, South and Central American, or other Spanish culture of origin, regardless of race. If you are Latino, Hispanic or Latino, stand. Thank you. All right, next. Here's the next group. Native Hawaiian or other Pacific Islander. Okay, Native Hawaiian or other Pacific Islander. Would you stand? Who is that? A person having origins in any of the original peoples of Hawaii, Guam, Samoa, or other Pacific islands. All right? If you are, let's give them a hand. Everybody kind of looked around real quick on the Native Hawaiian. Maybe we can go visit their family, right? Wouldn't that be cool? Hey, Mom, my church is flying in today. That'd be awesome. Here's the next group, all right? And I want to define this group. I want you to wait on this group because this is the largest category. And I'm going to lay out who the government says is in this group. This last group is white. Everybody stay seated, okay? According to the government, this includes those of Middle Eastern descent. If you are of Middle Eastern descent, would you stand? All right. It says also, not only Middle East, North African descent, peoples of Europe. All right. I'm assuming that some of them were standing because I know we have all of those. And then finally, those who are white. Would you stand? That is who the government says we are. That is not who Christ says we are. Amen? Christ is in all, over all, through all, above all. That's all of us. We are a church that is not going to be bound by unholy barriers of education or unholy barriers of ethnicity or unholy barriers of economics. The ground at the cross is level.